We have part two of an AFC North rivalry as the Cleveland Browns are on the road to take on the Steelers. This is your Week 14, 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the home team, the Steelers. They're coming off a very good win over the Cincinnati Bengals. They won this game 44-38. The referees are not helping out the Steelers early in this game. Russell Wilson did have 414 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. The 1 interception is the play I'm talking about. Cam Taylor-Britt had the back of George Pickens' helmet, slings him to the ground. It goes for a pick six. That was not on Russell Wilson, but it is what it is. The Steelers still found a way to come back and win this game. And this matchup against the Browns, because this is not the first time you're facing them, you have to keep Myles Garrett the hell away from Russell Wilson. He came out with a clear vendetta against the Steelers and against the entire NFL to show that he was the best pass rusher on that day. Myles Garrett defensively single-handedly won them the game on that side of the ball. You can't let that happen. And last week, the Steelers did a phenomenal job of keeping Russell Wilson upright against the sack leading leader at the time, Trey Hendrickson. Now, Myles Garrett is a different player than Trey Hendrickson. Myles Garrett has a lot of bend to his game. He's very athletic and he's strong as hell. Put 2 men on him if you have to. Chip block him. The Browns did that against TJ Watt. He had little to no production a couple of weeks ago against the Cleveland Browns in Ohio. Go out there and make sure that Russell Wilson is able to stay upright. When I look at the run game, Jaylen Warren was the leading rusher against the Browns. Last week, he only had 9 rushing yards. The reason why I believe Jaylen Warren can be more effective in this matchup against the Browns, like how he was in the first encounter, than Najee Harris, is because of the speed that he has. You still go out there and you feed Najee Harris. And they did that early on last week. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 75 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, average 5 yards a carry. Najee Harris also had 54 receiving yards. Get him going in the receiving game. Najee Harris is better off when he has blockers in front of him and he can gain that speed. It takes him a while to go out there and hit his top end speed, while Jaylen Warren already has that acceleration coming out the backfield. And look at this for context. When these two teams first went off against each other, in that matchup, Jaylen Warren, he had 45 rushing yards, averaged 4 yards a carry, 1 rushing touchdown. Najee Harris, 2.6 yards a carry, 41 rushing yards. Not saying that Najee Harris can go out there and have a good game, because he can. But you have to beat the Browns sideline to sideline. You don't want to run the football up the middle. And that's what the Steelers love to do with Najee Harris. And get Cordell Patterson involved in this matchup. Calvin Austin III last week had 2 catches, 29 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. He's questionable for this game because he got concussed against the Bengals. If he can't play, that's going to be a major blow. Because against the Browns, the man has 78 receiving yards off of 3 catches, 1 receiving touchdown. Big Pat, 59 receiving yards. George Pickens, 48 receiving yards in that first encounter. You look at what Calvin Austin III is able to do. It's that blazing speed that he has going deep down the middle on post routes. And then you can have George Pickens going crossing routes. George Pickens had a hard time going out there and getting open due to the weather, but also because Arthur Smith kept using him as a deep threat. Do what you did last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Just get the football into his hands. Last week against the Bengals, 3 catches, 74 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Just get the football in his hands. It doesn't have to be deep every single time. And that is something that they did a great job of last week against the Bengals. Granted, the Bengals have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, but they killed him underneath. Russell Wilson was very methodical, getting the football out quick. Something a lot of analysts said that he sucks at doing is getting the football out quick. Not last week. He was on the spot, get the football out quick. That's what you have to do in this matchup to keep Myles Garrett off of you. Another thing that you can do to negate the pressure off of Russell Wilson if the Browns want to blitz, throw screen passes to Cordell Patterson, to George Pickens. Also to Calvin Austin III if he's able to play. Do a slip screen to Big Pat and to Darnell Washington. Get these guys the football to get that pressure off of Russell Wilson. And then you can take those deep shots down the field to George Pickens. When I look at this situation for the Steelers, you have to come out fighting. The Browns came out aggressive a couple weeks ago, and the Steelers came out flat. And the Steelers have done that in the past where they start off slow. Now, in the last few weeks, they have not done that, with the exception of the Browns game. But come out with a chip on your shoulder. Play the Browns like they're a playoff team. It's been too many times in the past to where the Steelers will play down the competition. This is a Cleveland Browns team. They have played every single team in this division tough, and they have nothing to lose. They're playing with little to no regard right now. They're not going to make the NFL playoffs. It's a great chance the Steelers will. And if you win this game, It's a great chance that you will win this division because you beat the Cincinnati Bengals. You will split with the Cleveland Browns if you win this game, and you already beat the Baltimore Ravens. This is one of those games I look at where coaching is going to be the main factor here. And Mike Tomlin did have a debacle at the end of the game where he basically accepted the penalty, and it was just a lot of bad things with the clock management. And he brought in Justin Fields to throw the football deep down the field. You bring in Justin Fields, you can run the football with him in short yardage situations. Sure, you can throw the football if it's 3rd and 1. You don't always have to run it with Justin Fields. But limit those deep passes in this matchup. Make them play up, and then you could go with the moon ball. But besides that, I think the Steelers have a great shot offensively to go out there and win this game. When I look at the defense for the Steelers, Alex Highsmith is back. This is his first game back since he hurt his ankle against the Washington Commanders. And they have missed him. But at the same time, Nick Herbig has went out there and he's looked phenomenal. He had a key play against the Baltimore Ravens, 2-point conversion play. He had a key play last week also on Joe Burrow that went for a forced fumble. Him and TJ Watt. The defense last week, even though they gave up 38 points, they were cooking on the day. Where they gave up 31 points because a pick 6 was involved in the point total with the Bengals. The defense for the Steelers will dictate this game. Can they get enough pressure on Jameis Winston? That Thursday night football game, Jameis Winston has all day in the pocket. Myles Garrett is going off, and TJ Watt is not able to do much. Not because TJ Watt has become a terrible player. He's still one of the best defensive players in the NFL. He was getting double teamed and chip blocked off the edge. I look at Alex Highsmith. I look at Cameron Hayward. I look at Keanu Benton. I also look at Nick Herbig. Go out there and put the pressure on Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston is the reason why the Buccaneers selected him with the first overall pick many years ago. He is a turnover-prone quarterback, but at the same time, he can make some wild plays. But when you put that pressure on him and you force him to go out there and throw the football over and over again, he's eventually going to give you one. In the case of the Denver Broncos, he gave him 2. They went for pick 6s. Against the Steelers a couple weeks ago, he threw an interception. But it was too many times on 3rd and 4th down, he was damn near perfect because they could not get pressure on him. Put the pressure on Jameis Winston. Blitz even if you have to. This is why it is so great to have a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick over top, because Minkah Fitzpatrick can hold his own at single high safety. Jordan Porter Jr., if he needs help, you have Minkah Fitzpatrick over top. Dante Jackson, you need help, you have Minkah Fitzpatrick over the top. He can flip his hips. Send in pressure if you need to. Send in extra pressure with Patrick Queen or with Peyton Wilson, who have played very good down the stretch over the last month. Both linebackers have. Stop the run game, put all the pressure on Jameis Winston, and force him to make those dumb turnovers like how he has done throughout his entire career. But be careful. Don't be surprised if Jameis Winston goes out there and he has 3 passing touchdowns, because he is capable of doing that. But the defense, they have to come out like the steel curtain. Stop the run game. Stop Nick Chubb. Stop Jerome Ford. And in my opinion, they did a very good job of stopping the run game in the first outing. Nick Chubb did have 2 rushing touchdowns, but he only averaged 3 yards a carry. Jerome Ford averaged 5 yards a carry, but that was only on 4 attempts. Jameis Winston went out there and had 219 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, and he had a rushing touchdown in the red zone. Pay attention to Jameis Winston's speed. He may not look like a fast quarterback, but he has solid mobility. And also be on lookout for Jerry Jeudy. Last week, he had one of the best games, if not the best game in his career. And against the Steelers, he had 6 catches, 85 receiving yards in the snow. That's a very good game, and he's looking like a true number 1 cornerback. Jordan Porter Jr. got flagged 5 times last week. Dumb down those penalties, be aggressive on Jameis Winston, force him to turn the football over. Now let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. It sucks, man. It really does, because last week you went into the Denver Broncos house and you put up 32 points and they still lost. And a part of the reason why they lost that game is because Jameis Winston had the 2 interceptions that went for pick 6s. Jameis Winston, if you take those turnovers away, which I know is crazy to say, he had 497 passing yards, 34 of 58, 4 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 of the interceptions hurt them. The last interception came late in the game, and they were already down by 9 points. You have to get a consistent run game going. No quarterback, even if it's Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, whomever, should throw the football almost 60 times in the game. Not even college quarterbacks do this. Jameis Winston had 58 pass attempts. Jerome Ford, 9 carries, 41 rushing yards. Nick Chubb, 9 carries, 21 rushing yards. And he has not looked the same since he hurt his knee against the Steelers a year ago. There's so many storylines in this matchup. I love it. Run the football with Nick Chubb. Run the football with Jerome Ford and condense the field. The Browns match up very well with the Steelers. Go out there and target your linebackers in space with your wide receivers, with Jerry Jeudy. And they're following him around. Get Jerry Jeudy the football. Since they made the trade to bring him over to the Cleveland Browns, he has been phenomenal. Last week, he had 235 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 9 catches on the day. And one of those plays did go for 70 yards. Sure. Elijah Moore is a very good player. 8 catches, 111 receiving yards. David Njoku, 17 targets. 9 catches, 52 receiving yards. Yes, 2 receiving touchdowns. He had a bad game in the second half because he dropped the football a lot. He has to come down with those tough catches. And he has some drops against the Steelers in the first encounter. He has to catch the football. And Jameis Winston has to be patient. When it comes to those out routes, you can't just go out there and just throw it immediately, because that's what happened last week. It went for a pick 6. If the defensive player is reading it, throw it away. Do not be cautious. Be cautious with the football. Don't be reckless with the football in this situation, because when Jameis Winston has been like this throughout his entire career, it's been bad. It's the reason why he had 30 plus turnovers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in one season. Jameis Winston has the capabilities going out there and being the starting quarterback for the Browns long term. He just stands in his own way. And the pass rush does bother me in this environment. When they were in Cleveland, which is only 2 hours and 15 minutes away, the Browns fans showed up in the snow. Shout out to them. But you're going to the PA. It's going to be a lot of Steelers fans there. Hostile environment. You may want to snap the football faster at the line of scrimmage, because the fans, they're going to be messing with you all day. And I look at Jameis Winston. He's a veteran now. Just take care of the football. Take those deep shots to Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore. Have faith in your wide receivers. Yes. But at the same time, don't just throw the football into double coverage. Don't throw the football right to the defensive player. Jameis Winston has done this against the Ravens. He did this last week against the Denver Broncos. Just take care of the football. And Kevin Stefanski, you have to run the football more in this matchup. It's going to be hard to do because the Steelers have a top rushing defense, but you do have the running backs that are talented enough. And I'm talking about Jerome Ford here. Nick Chubb hasn't looked right. He's still recovering from that knee injury, but we will see if he can step up in this matchup. When I look at the defense for the Cleveland Browns, you may say, hey, they had 41 points put on their neck. 2 of those touchdowns were pick 6s. The defense played very well. Myles Garrett, last week, against the Denver Broncos, not do much. Very good at stopping the run. We know him to be a premier pass rusher. In this game against the Steelers, do what you did in the first encounter. Go back there, put that pressure on Russell Wilson, and take away George Pickens. Play that man coverage that the Steelers hate to see. Play that man coverage and play that zone coverage on third down. The reason why I have to play zone coverage on third down is because more than likely Jim Schwartz is going to send extra pressure, like how he tried to do against Bo Nix. You have to watch out for the middle of the field. A lot of people say that Russell Wilson can't see the middle of the field. That's half true. Russell Wilson has had some sweet touchdowns to Calvin Austin III this season at the middle of the field. Pass rush is going to be the key to victory in this matchup for the Browns, besides Jameis Winston taking care of the football. And solely is Myles Garrett. Him and TJ Watt, they're in a rivalry right now to see who is the best pass rusher in the NFL. Myles Garrett was a complete game wrecker a couple weeks ago. In order for the Browns to have a true shot to beat the Steelers not once but twice this year, he has to be a game wrecker in this matchup. I look at the secondary with the Cleveland Browns. You have to be careful with how you treat George Pickens in this game. I'm looking at Denzel Ward. I'm looking at Martin Emerson Jr. I know that Jim Schwartz doesn't like to move his cornerbacks around because it'll tip off the offense if they're playing man coverage, if they're playing zone coverage. If George Pickens is having a nice day in the first half, go get Denzel Ward and put him on a guy like George Pickens because he has the speed that can match up with him. But I believe Martin Emerson Jr. would do a very good job of containing George Pickens in this matchup. I look at the cornerbacks. They have one of the best cornerback trios in all the NFL. I like the pieces that they have. The linebacking spot does still bother me because you look at the linebacking positions. You have Isaiah McGuire. You have Jordan Hicks. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is still on IR. He's dealing with that neck injury that he suffered many weeks ago against the Baltimore Ravens, where he's trying to tackle Derrick Henry, and their defense is taking a step back because he is such an awesome defensive player. The linebackers continue to go out there and stop the run and defend those crossing routes and be on lookout for the tight ends with the Steelers. Play action bootlegs is a simple concept. They love to run a curl back with George Pickens, and they love to run a crossing pattern, possibly on the back end with Calvin Austin III. Just be very cautious with how you play against that offensive set. because there's been so many times this year where Russell Wilson can fake out and he delivers the football underneath and there's no defenders there, and Najee Harris can get a long run like how he did last week against the Bengals. With that being said, this is going to be a fun and physical football game. I look at George Pickens, had some key penalties last week. Mike Thomas said he has to grow up. You have to grow up on that. You can't go out there and cost your team. I look at the Cleveland Browns. Jameis, just take care of the football. The Browns can win this game. They can go out there and they can shock the Steelers again. With that being said, I have the Steelers winning this game 30-21. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the Cleveland Browns or the Steelers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.